Delta Institute is a nonprofit organization. We're 10 years old, and we were founded to bring together environmental and economic development concerns. And we thought that there was a real need for more places that brought together the interdisciplinary approach and looked at the problems that couldn't be solved from one perspective, from a variety of perspectives in order to move them forward. And so we created Delta really as a laboratory, and we worked together on creating a public policy dialogue in Chicago around brownfield redevelopment. At that point in time, very few brownfield sites were getting cleaned up and redeveloped. And the dialogue was very, very successful. It wound up changing the state laws in Illinois for redeveloping brownfield sites. And today, many, many sites are getting cleaned up and redeveloped because of this process. So the regional dialogue came up with a set of 10 strategies that could be used to reduce ozone emissions. And so these strategies then were turned into a campaign called Clean Air Counts. And the goal was to reduce ozone emissions by 5 tons a day. And today they're at 6.4 tons emission reductions per day, which is pretty amazing. Among the relationships that we built through Clean Air Counts, we built a lot of relationships with building management companies, and the Merchandise Mart was one of those. And so when Elise joined Delta, we were just at the point of bringing the Merchandise Mart into the Clean Air Counts program and beginning to work with them.
They started with Clean Air Counts, and it was a perfect process for them because they got comfortable with doing the analysis and starting to look at some of these programs, and then were able to graduate into being the biggest LEED certified building in the world. One of the areas that we really saw some opportunity was building waste. 40% of the solid waste stream in this country is made up of construction and demolition debris. And there's a joke out in Portland, Oregon. I was just there, and there's a truck that goes by that says, just because they're called landfills doesn't mean we need to fill them. So we started to look at what those opportunities were, and we realized that there was this huge market gap in Chicago. So we started to kind of look at how to open a reuse center here. Over the last year, the momentum around the excitement of opening this center and providing this resource to Chicago residents has been huge. But one of the things that we identified as being a barrier to getting these materials into the reuse center was that a typical demolition process doesn't leave much on the site. A bulldozer will come in 1 or 2 days and just completely level a house. We were starting to kind of look at the idea of deconstruction and how it could be used as opposed to demolition in Chicago. And it just so happened, it was serendipitous. There was an organization called the Reuse People that really wanted to start doing deconstruction in Chicago. What they're doing essentially is they're going in and taking a house apart brick by brick, 2 by 4 by 2 by 4. One of the things that we're also really excited about with deconstruction is that it's a great opportunity for green collar jobs. A deconstruction project will take a crew of 5 or 6 people for 3 weeks. Because these materials are actually valuable, you can donate those materials to an organization like ours, so that donation value will then offset, all the added labor costs that we're dealing with. So it's a really win-win situation for everybody.
Delta's role at the Green Exchange is kind of twofold. We're going to be partnering with the developer to manage the shared office incubator component of the facility, and then also we'll be providing the education and technical assistance services to the tenants, but also to green and greening businesses beyond the Green Exchange. So we're thinking that between our network and the network of the Green Exchange, we'll have just a huge array of relationships that we can bring to the kind of problem solving that we think will need to occur.